game for this Razor. Hard to know what he can do at this rate. Razor isn't the best farmer in the jungle either. It depends as to whether Armel's going to back out of this lane or not. But now though, he is not, but looks like once Ryoya comes back in, Armel's just going to wait in the tree line, see if he can find another opening, or rather just go farm the jungle. So Tims could be in a bit of danger on the Mirana. Looking for another courier, it looks like, but Raven is on his backside now. Tims will leap up the cliff and go for the immediate TP. Plasma Field will get vision, but it will not be good enough. Tims does get out of there safely. It looks like we do have our first jungle item, being the Iron Talon coming out. That is going to go straight onto Armel. So if his farm wasn't fast enough, it's going to be a hell of a lot faster now. And really don't mind that on the Brood. She does love farming that jungle. In fact, better than farming the jungle, why not just farm heroes as Ryoya gets caught out once again. Static Link will be there, but the Spiderlings aren't going to get their damage sapped away, and he does go down. It's going to be the third kill going out for Armel now on the side of TNC. In fact, every kill this game so far has gone to the Brood. Look at Armel's net worth, 4.2k. It's 1.4k ahead of the secondary net worth being the Weaver. It looks like Tims has found himself some royal jelly. There you have it, 2.5 health regen and 1.3 mana regen permanently on the Mirana now. That is not too bad if I do say so myself. You have another one, Keen Optic, coming out now. So you've got some added cast range on Cuckoo, although Gabby will go down bot lane on the Tiny. Cuckoo, where did that go? Gave it off to the Rubik, so Zephyr's got the Keen Optic now. Cuckoo doesn't want it, doesn't need it. Does suit the Rubik quite well, especially throughout this early to mid. Tims, once again, we'll find another courier. That's the third courier this game for Tims. This time around it will be Dubus rather than Ravens, but it's still going to be very frustrating for the side of GeekFam. To be fair though, they haven't really put any vision up on this high ground apart from this Sentry Ward, but they haven't really dewarded that Observer Ward there either. So Tims can just keep doing this over and over again. In fact, now they're going to try and find him. He will just leap away and look at Armel. He'll come in on the Brood, although that Plasma Field does take away a lot of his Spiderlings. But Tims will be able to just get out of there safely once again. GeekFam, apart from that one kill onto Gabby, it's struggling just a bit, although they are going to chase Gabby once again. They do slow him up. Tims will throw out the arrow onto Cuckoo. TNC won't chase any longer. In fact, GeekFam will continue chasing Tims. Gabby gonna get back in. Avalanche will be there. The Bannerons do pop up as well. Gabby gonna try and chase for it, but Cuckoo does find it. And now GeekFam, they want to dive into this tree line. They really want this Tiny, but there's the CM ultimate coming out from March. Cuckoo doesn't want to deal with this any longer. He doesn't have borrowed time available at the moment either. Gabby, 5 seconds for the Avalanche. Trying to get control of that tower. Cuckoo still trying to man fight this. Avalanche will be there on Zephyr. Toss as well, but it won't be enough. In fact, Gabby now going to be in trouble. Cuckoo going to chase, and the Fade Bolt will end up finding him. Very nice from GeekFam as they go for more. March now is sitting duck. He'll go down as well. Cuckoo, he will not chase for Tims, but they find two very nice pickups. They will be able to get control of this outpost to boot. Dubu will go ahead and take that right now. Of course, the outposts are very, very valuable, not only for the vision they give you, but that added XP does allow you to snowball. And as I say snowball, Armel gonna find Ryoya, and will find himself another item, an Arcane Ring this time around. Doesn't really suit the Broodmother, but he can always give it to the CM or Mirana. It's basically a mini Arcane Boots, I believe. In fact, yeah, it is. So TNC do seem to be getting fairly lucky with these RNG drops from the neutrals. In fact, Gabby just found a poor man's shield as well. It does feel slightly late for a poor man's shield to be that effective, but it still can be of use. Especially as Gabby is farming the jungle right now, so it's definitely going to help him sustain a lot longer while he's jungling. And GeekFam still haven't done anything about Armel. Armel's just been freely farming the mid lane, freely farming the dire jungle. He's got 7.5k net worth now. He's literally 3k ahead of the Weaver. He has not been punished whatsoever. He's got the full diffusal up as well, and it's just, what do you do about this if you are GeekFam? We do finally see a smoke being bought by Zephyr, but he's not really in position to get that smoke going with his team yet. While all that's been happening in the mid lane, KP's been forcing out the top lane. And again, they haven't really been able to stop him. Now that Armel's here, it's going to be much harder to stop this push coming in from TNC. GeekFam, the way these lanes went for them, it just seems almost impossible to defend. Perhaps once that pipes up on Cuckoo, they may feel a little more comfortable, but not going to do much about the Broodmother. Ubu now going to be careful. The dire jungle, they are going to end up finding KP, but he just TPs away. In fact, he cancels that off now. The Moonlight Shadow and Armel are there. Another courier being killed off. This time it's Zephyr's, and it looks like Zephyr is going to lose his own life. So Tim's with his 4th courier of the game, and they find the hero, and they might even find Raven. Tries to scoochie away. Looks like he will take control of the outpost, but Tim sees him. Or at least Raven does dodge the arrow, but Tim's is not done yet. He jumps in. It's a lot of damage on Raven. He'll time-lapse away. KP's going to chase. They got the Poison Nova off, and now Raven, he might just be dead. Another courier going down, this time by Armel. TP will be there by Raven. It looks like he will end up surviving. But we've got a 4k net worth lead now for TNC. You could argue Raven is still farming well on the Weaver, but it just doesn't seem like it's anywhere near fast enough to be effective. Armel now. Keeping tabs of everyone on the side of GeekFam. Raven desperately trying to get that Maelstrom up. Cuckoo does find himself a mango tree. It is mango season after all. There it is. Let the mangoes pop out. In fact, he's just going to just plant it and leave it. Nice guy, Cuckoo. Just giving the side of TNT some mangoes, because they need it right now, clearly. Gabby, going to find Vampire Fangs now. Who does he give it off to? Looks like Ryoyo finds some as well. Dragon Scale being picked up by Gabby. GeekFam looking to make a play down this bot lane. Forcing this tier 2 tower. March is the only one there, but they are TPing in with the Moonlight Shadow. Still GeekFam not backing off yet. Arrow will not connect from Tim's, but they will force them away. GeekFam, they do not want to take a 5v5. And as well as that, you look at Armel, he's just pushing in a tier 3 top tower. Zephyr is forced to defend. And Armel now has an Aghanim Scepter. Well, that's concerning. You got a lot more webs coming out from the Brood. Just no stopping insight for TNC. I suppose if you're GeekFam right now, you've just got to hope and pray that you get some amazing jungle items. hasn't happened so much as of yet for GeekFam. We just saw the Dragon Scale dropping for Raven, but that isn't really as effective as you would hope, trying to push it back your way. But he does have the Maelstrom up now as well, so that should help the cause a little bit. You see Armel now with the Nether Shoal. On mid lane, March channeling that ultimate, doing a lot of damage to Raven, but he does go down. KP is going to be here. In fact, Armel joins as well. They're going to try and chase down the side of GeekFam. Looks like they will find Ryoyo with the defusal. They're trying to get him out of there, but Dubu can't get him out in time. The relocate needed half a second more, and he will not have the time to do it. Very least, GeekFam may not lose any more. As I say that, Cuckoo does get caught out, but they will not continue the chase on a Baton. Rather, they do find the relocating Dubu. They do find a secondary kill in the IO. TNC is 7-5 now, but more importantly, an 8k net worth lead. Complete map control to boot. Zephyr does steal the webs and does use it to his advantage. Tim's probably just looking out for another courier, keeping the top lane pushed in. Vampire Fangs do seem pretty darn good. Ryoyo going to take advantage of that item. Cuckoo could be in trouble bot lane as Gabby has rotated around. He does have some help with him as well, but it's just a hard target to go after. You're going to try anyway, though. Here comes Armel. Spiderling's in first. Cuckoo does back off. He's not interested in fighting this. They do lose the outpost as well. And with that, the tier 1 tower is just basically gone. Cuckoo's still sticking around, but he's been diffused up by Armel. He'll be alright, though. TNC, they take the T1, they do go straight back up top where KP must teleport towards the outpost. Actually, with the Vampire Fangs on KP, that does seem a little bit overpowered. 8% spell lifesteal on a Venomancer. Once that Poison Nova's off, if you hit all 5 heroes, how do they kill you? Raven. Gonna cop an arrow from Tim's. He does have Dubu around the area. Gale and Poison Nova does come out, but KP, does he cop damage? Looks like he does manage to TP away just in the nick of time. Tim's now gonna try and turn it around with the rest of his team as Gabby gonna continue chasing. They found the arrow onto Ryoyo. Still, he does manage to walk away in the nick of time, but March is chasing as well. They get the avalanche toss by Gabby. Looks like the Razor still managing to get out of there thanks to Cuckoo, but his life should just be forfeit here, though Tim's getting pretty low himself. Looks like he will just accept his own death. Gonna be a 1-for-1 trade. Make that a 2-for-1 trade thanks to Gabby. And a 10k net worth lead and multiple bounty runes for the side of TNC. I believe they've just gotten all 4 now. Unless Raven can go in there and steal it, but he will not make it in time. And that'll force it to an 11k net worth lead now for TNC. And as that happens, Armel does finish off the full BKB, and it is out on the courier as we speak. DOTA2, giving them a pretty high chance of winning this game. Cuckoo going to be chased down mid lane. Pop the borrowed time, and we'll be okay. The TNC, seeing that borrowed time being popped, understand they can just go for the Roshan attempt. They've got a double damage system there on Gabby to boot, and yeah, it's going to be quite an easy Roshan for TNC. I can't imagine GeekFam actually trying to contest this. Looks like Ryoya has actually found a pretty useful item though in the Grove Bow. Plus 100 attack range and reduces magic resist by 12% towards the target he's attacking. Seems pretty good. See if he uses it though. Aegis will be given away to Gabby on that Tiny. Like Ryoya is desperately just trying to finish off that BKB so he can actually get into those fights and just sit in the middle, linking up whoever he wants. See as well Raven trying to do the exact same thing. And Gabby is just a major problem on that Tiny. Need to be able to just sustain with that magic immunity for a while. You're always going to have the problem of Armel there on the Brood though. Kind of surprised TNC hasn't really forced the issue in terms of high ground yet as a team. They do still have that bot tier 2 tower remaining, but just with the net worth lead they have, it seems like it would be a very easy high ground up against GeekFam. They are being cautious. Again, it is a new patch, so you never really know what could happen. No harm in just continuously farming up the jungle. Looks like Cuckoo's actually just transitioned to a Radiance on the Abaddon now. Feeling like he needs that added damage, needs the added mischance in these team fights. I don't disagree with him, especially up against those Spiderlings. It just gives you another way to clear them out. Will he have time to get it though? Is the real question in all this. Cuckoo. Not going to be the target they want, but they found Ryoya. Still, Ryoya has plenty of help around him. Looks like he will be safe. Does have that BKB up. So does Raven. Do switch up some items a bit. But give the bow away to the Weaver. Give Ryoya those Dragon Scales. Light Shadow going to be popped. You can see though, who are they going for? Looks like they found Zephyr. He's just going to TP out of there and does actually make it out alive. March was lifted up and couldn't get the Frostbite out in time. Raven actually going to stick around down at the bot lane, trying to go after KP or at least set up a kill onto KP. Meanwhile, up at the top lane, Dubu does end up losing his life to Gabby on the Tiny. Tips do immediately come out from Tim's. Raven gets started on the CM, but just completely gives up on it, while Armel mid lane gonna go after the tier 3 tower by himself. He gets lifted up. Now remember, he doesn't have the Aegis. It's actually Gabby who has it. But it doesn't matter, he just walks out of there. Doesn't need to pop the BKB either. Just casually walks out. Meanwhile, bot lane, you'll see Raven going down, as Gabby does find him with Tim's on the Mirana. That's going to make it a 12-6, but an 18k net worth lead. And it looks like we found more items now. Armel going to find the Helm of the Undying. So 5 seconds after he dies, he's still there. That is very scary if you are up against this Broodmother. He won't put it into his bag yet though. He's going to hold out on it for a bit. In fact, he gives it over to March. Gabby. Just going to get started on the tier 3 while all that's happening. It does just take it for free. Now they're going to go for more. They found Zephyr with the Frostbite though. Dubu trying to protect. It will allow him to get out of there. Armel will pop the ultimate. Gabby jumps in, avalanche toss straight onto Dubu, and that Io's gone. They're trying to fight back towards Gabby, but Armel just standing there, man fighting up against Ryoya. He will back off. Shrines can now be taken. That is exactly what TNC planned to do, it looks like. Aegis will expire now on Gabby. Does it really matter though? I'm not 100% sure. I mean, you could literally give the Helm of the Undying to Gabby if you really wanted to. It does appear that they're happy to just keep it on March for now though. We'll actually smoke up. Armel perhaps going to be playing the bait in the mid lane. GeekFam just maintaining that high ground. They'll smoke up as well. Got the Assault Cuirass sitting there on Armel now though. In fact, he's got a Paladin Sword. Seems like a pretty balanced item. They'll take the Shrine. GeekFam still looping around their own jungle, trying to find a target. Nobody is around them though. Perhaps they just go for the outpost steal. They could do that. Only issue is TNC is still pushing in the mid and bot lane. But it does appear that's exactly what they're doing. But look at TNC immediately TPing in. They are not allowing that outpost to go away. And so that smoke rotation for the outpost basically wasted. KP though gets lifted up. This could be a very nice pickup here for GeekFam. KP gonna TP away again. And apparently he just needs to TP to get out. I can't really remember how many times KP's done that this game. But it just seems like he's doing it over and over again. And they just can't get the bastard. While all that was happening, by the way, Gabby does find Greater Fairy Fire. So he can instantly restore 500 health and he has 2 of them. That's nice. Essentially half a cheese is now sitting on Gabby. Gabby though, gotta be careful, but a quick blink out. KP is around the area. There to help if necessary, but GeekFam don't look to push any further. Raven, what did you just find? Enchanted Quiver. Never mind that, because bot lane, it looks like Zephyr has lost his life to the Tiny. Gabby does find a secondary in Dubu, and now they're going to go after Ryoya on the Raven. Or rather, on the Razor, but he does BKB TP out. Raven is trying to fight back on the Weaver. He's BKB'd up as well, but it looks like he just wants to get out of there now. Tims does throw out the arrow. Time-lapse will be there, though, from Raven. Gabby has not given up quite yet. The Tiny is chasing. Avalanche will not connect. Raven does TP in the end. Now we can have a proper read of the Enchanted Quiver. 400 bonus range and 170 bonus magical damage and true strike. Well, that seems extremely balanced. Gonna be pretty darn good for this Weaver. And I suppose this is the beauty about this patch, is you can be as far ahead as you want on one side of things, but the other team can come back just due to some luck from the jungle. Still though, with a 30k net worth lead on TNC, it's going to be much harder than just picking up some jungle items and hoping for the best. They found somebody else. In fact, it is Raven on the Weaver. Tims, though, doesn't want to deal with this. Wants to back out, though no. He'll turn around. They get the Frostbite. They get the stun. But unfortunately, it looks like they are going to lose March, though no. He'll force staff out of there for now. Moonlight Shadow has been popped as well. BKB now from Raven, though March is still running out of there as a Crystal Maiden. They just can't kill the supports either. Raven, he will eventually find him, surely, though no. March survives the uphill miss coming out from Raven on the Weaver. And that is pretty darn demoralizing, not being able to kill off a Crystal Maiden as a Weaver. March will just walk out of there safely. You'll see Tims now, he does have the Gem of True Sight, so that Weaver not going to be able to just invis himself out of there. And of course it is just going to assist in taking complete map control, ensuring no wards can come out from the side of GeekFam. Speaking of map control, another Roshan, another Aegis, and a Cheese this time for TNC. For March, just a walking backpack right now for the team. Gabby goes in by himself. Avalanche is going to be there on Ryoya, but doesn't get the toss though. They get the arrow. Ryoya, he will have the aphotic shield. Armel was playing a few rack games down the bot lane while that was happening, but doesn't really find a racks. TNC find the secondary racks of the game. After Cuckoo now on that Abaddon. No toss back from Gabby, but they do proc the borrowed time. Avalanche though going to be stolen by Zephyr and thrown back, and Raven going to have a goal with this Tiny, but won't really get anywhere. Meanwhile, bot Armel going to go after Ryoya now on the racer just by himself. He'll continue chasing. He still has the BKB. In fact, it's still a 10-second charge. Cuckoo, meanwhile, mid lane almost goes down, but not quite, as Gabby is going to be chased by Raven. Though Raven will turn his attention toward Tims. He leaps out, and now the Brood is the only one left, but they can't even kill Armel. He'll just run out of there as well, and it looks like they are jumping back in. Gabby, he finds both the Rubik and Raven on the Weaver. Doob is going to go down to this Brood. Armel does not care about anything on this Spider. The Aegis has gone, but who the hell cares about that? As the Crystal Nova is proc by March. He takes down one in the form of Ryoya. Cuckoo's going down as a fourth, and it looks like it will be a full team wipe. Ultra kill out there for Gabby, and he might just go for the Rampage now. He saw the buyback on Cuckoo. Cuckoo is going to be the Rampage coming out for Gabby on the Tiny. And that is going to be a very one-sided victory for TNC. It never really felt like GeekFam was in this game. Of course, again, it is a new patch. There's a lot to learn for either side. But TNC do pull off a very, very dominant victory for game number 1. This is a best of 2 series though, so don't go anywhere. We are going to have a second game between these two in just a few moments. For now though, it is MLP Dota, joined by absolutely nobody, but we'll see you guys very, very soon. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here for game number 2 between TNC Predator and of course GeekFam. It is MLP Dota, and as you can see, the draft has already started, but in case you weren't here for game number 1, to put it as bluntly as possible, TNC basically ran a broodmother and essentially had the game in the bag from the get-go, I would say. I mean, they had the net worth lead the whole time. Momentum was there the whole time for the side of TNC. GeekFam, unfortunately, after the laning stage, couldn't really get on top of things during that game number 1. Though game number 2, sure, things should be very, very different for this dire side. Time will only tell, though, as the draft is underway, and we do see TNC Predator. They do get started with the puck. GeekFam, they are into their first pick, but they are using their reserve time straight off the bat. They're going to think about this one carefully. It is arguably a bit of an unusual opening from the side of TNC with that puck. Though it looks like GeekFam will just go for the safety pick in the Rubik, and once again, they do go for the Abaddon. I suppose the question will be whether they do opt to run that in the off lane, or whether they just will run it as a support in the safe lane. I imagine they may want to switch it up a bit, as Kuka couldn't really do much on the Abaddon in that game number 1. Wasn't really so much his fault, it just seemed like none of the heroes on the side of GeekFam could really get up and online up against a side like TNC. Well, now TNC, they will go for the Vengeful Spirit pickup. You have that nice little combination where you can essentially use the puck ultimate and then swap someone out of it if you really want to get that guaranteed stun off. Other than that, though, the Venge is just a very useful support to have overall, especially with that aura. So we do see where we go with it. So Alchemist will be the 4th ban for TNC now. GeekFam, what do they opt to ban out? We saw them get rid of KP's Veno. They don't want to have to deal with that again. And it was quite an annoying presence, as you had this Brood, you had this Veno. They just kept pushing the lanes out constantly. It never seemed like GeekFam could get any sort of map control. They will go ahead and ban out the TA again as well. I don't want to have to deal with that RML TA. TNC, though, not much time thinking about it. They'll go ahead and get rid of the Lycan. GeekFam, one more ban for them. Again, it looks like they might just go into the reserve time for this 5th ban. They'll get rid of the Timber. Go straight into the Dragon Knight. Very safe kind of core to have. Even if you don't get a good start on the DK, it still generally goes okay. You can push towers down very easily with that Dragon form. Very tanky hero overall to try and deal with in the team fights. And most of the time, DK just doesn't lose the lane. TNC, though, they'll go into the Undying pickup. So against some very strong lane presence from the side of TNC. Undying in the previous patch was okay. I mean, I would say it was below average in terms of actual ability from the hero. It was always good during the early game, but once you hit the mid to late game, it basically dropped off quite hard. But we will see how it performs in this new patch. GeekFam now. Again, letting that reserve time go. About a minute left. They will go back to that Keeper of the Light. It did have some slight nerfs coming out, but it is still a very viable hero. TNC, once again, not really thinking about their pick whatsoever. They go straight into the Outworld Devourer. And up against that Dragon Knight, this hero is very, very potent. The Arcane Orb does not care for the armor of the DK. Of course, the Sanities is also very, very useful. You just keep spamming the Arcane Orb. Once you've stolen enough intelligence, you just drop the hammer on the heads of the side of GeekFam. Again, this draft from TNC does just look so darn strong already. Apart from that Will-O-Wisp and perhaps the DK stun, I don't really see a way of dealing with the OD. Once the BKB's out on Armel, there's basically no stopping him. Just got free reign over the team fights. Of course, GeekFam do have one last pick to make, so they can always change things up with this draft. Final ban. Seconds reserve time left for GeekFam. Get rid of the Void. TNC, they'll get rid of the Brood themselves this time around. Don't want any shenanigans. Straight into the Gyrocopter for TNC. This hero, again, just never seems to ever disappear from the meta. Always viable. TNC will happily take it. I mean, with that new jungle, the jungle items coming out, TNC farming multiple stacks with a Gyrocopter, it's going to be a lot of items dropping. You saw last game, they were taking full advantage of those items. GeekFam, they go back into the Razor. They're feeling confident with this Razor pick once again. It does appear that Cuckoo will be on the position 3 Abaddon. They have gone for a very, very similar kind of draft here, GeekFam. At the very least, they do give Raven the DK instead. Won't have that Weaver. But I don't know if the DK is a much better choice. Does work well up against the Gyrocopter due to just his heavy armor, but again, once Armel's up and online with that BKB, I don't really see a way to deal with him. That Inkling can still be pretty good, but gotta close the gap. Just in terms of laning stage as well, it does seem like TNC do have the advantage. Got that Undying that pretty much always wins you the lane. OD doesn't really lose lanes, and Gyrocopter doesn't really lose them either. Interestingly, though, we do have a position 4 puck. AP will be playing the position 3 Vengeful Spirit. TNC experimenting a little bit with their draft. See how it all pans out. Again, this is a best of 2 series. TNC looking to 2-0 if they possibly can, and GeekFam definitely want to try and tie this up. They can. Get into a game number 2. TNC going into this, the heavy favorites. They were the major winners after all. And GeekFam, it's a little unfortunate they had to verse TNC of all teams to start their day off, but it's how the cookie crumbled. To see that both teams are in high spirits though. Again, a little bit of banter coming out from either side. GeekFam setting up for the left side bounty. See if TNC does try to contest the one near the outpost. KP is starting to set up on the bench. Looks like Raven should be able to go. In fact, no, KP does manage to snag it away from Raven. It will be a 2-for-2 trade on the bounties anyway, though. Not too big of a deal. Dubu does cop a fair bit of damage off the puck. Be okay. It's one of the positives about having a position 4 puck. It hits so darn hard. Hard to lose the harass war between the supports if you are playing the puck. Does have the ring of Bassi there as well. Mid lane, Mel gonna be up against Ryoya. This should be a little bit easier for Ryoya, but then again, you've got the Astral Imprisonment that can just be spammed out from Mel. Won't really be able to get the full effect of the static link off. Mel, not really the kind of player to make a mistake with the Astral either. I doubt he'll use it too early and not have it for the static link usage. Bot lane, Gabby going to be up against Cuckoo once again. You see March as well, just chasing Zephyr down on the Rubik. Spamming away that decay. Does already have 2 mangoes ready to go. Pop one. Just continue this decay spam. Won't really be doing much though. As Raven top lane almost going down to Tim's on the puck. He will barely survive with a slither of HP, but he will salve up. Survive another day. Dubu now going to be chased down by Tims. KP will be there as well. Tims just not going to give up on this. Orb will be there. Dubu, he should die, though Blinding Light will allow him to survive, just barely. He salves up, he gets the hell out of there. It's going to be 2 salves committed very early from the side of GeekFam. We saw this last game, TNC just applying so much pressure to the safe lane of GeekFam. Not ever really allowing them to be comfortable in this lane. Looks like we are going to have a bit of a repeat of that. Back to the mid lane though, Ryoya. Doing pretty well in terms of last hits. 11 and 11. Really denying the hell out of Armel, who only has 4 and 2 on the OD. Ryoya so far making this lane work quite well for himself. Armel, let's start with the Astral Spam once again. Ryoya does have the static link though, and he will use it immediately. Armel lose quite a bit of damage. Ryoya going to go straight back to last hitting and denying. This should mean a much slower game for Armel in this OD. On top though, looks like they are going to lose their Keeper of the Light. KP does end up finding him, so Dubu being the first blood for the side of TNC. And you saw Tims, he was just chasing down with those right clicks, and he does end up setting up the first blood. Meanwhile, bot lane though, Cuckoo going to end up chasing this gyrocopter. Gabby will end up surviving just fine. March did have the Soul Rip to heal him up. GeekFam certainly trying to apply the pressure back to the safe lane of TNC. Gabby doesn't actually have a salve, he only has tangos available, so Cuckoo gonna try and abuse this a bit. He will spot out a courier as well. March actually blocking the way for Gabby! Oh, March! He's gonna try and go after the Abaddon, but now his life looks to be forfeit as Cuckoo does find him. A double kill for the Abaddon. He will deny himself off to the T1 tower. But March giving them a freebie. Gabby will TP back straight away. Well, get back to that farm. Bit of a misplay though, coming out very early on from this safe lane of TNC. Raven. Having a fair bit of harassment, but in terms of last hits, he's at the top of the board. Of course, with that Dragon Blood, he can just keep passively healing up. Going to be a bit of a scuttle over those Banneroons up at the top lane. Raven is going to be the target. Tim's going to continue chasing him down. It's mana coming in from Dubu, but they aren't giving up quite yet. Raven so close to dying, but he's so darn tanking on this DK. One more right click would have done it, but he doesn't find it from the puck. TNC at least force out the DK for a little bit. Won't quite find what they wanted. While mid, Ryoya, again with the static link. Quite aggressive with that usage. As such, has really shut down Armel on the OD. and 18 on this Razor in comparison to the 16 and 5 on the OD right now. Dubu is just getting to stacking for his team. Of course, when you're up against a Gyrocopter, you've got to be very careful not to allow those stacks to go the way of TNC. Zephyr, going to rotate in mid lane, but doesn't quite have the range to find Armel with the lift. Dubu will join as well on the Keeper now. We do have a rotation in from Tims. He doesn't have the Dream Core yet. He's only level 3. Just with that Orb and Silence, he might just find Dubu. In fact, he jumps in for the Silence, ignores Dubu, and is going to go after Ryoya on the Razor instead. Still holding on to that Orb. Fadebolt will come out from Zephyr. Ryoya falling low and will not go down. The Aphotic Shield from Cuckoo just in the nick of time. And now he will try to turn it towards Tims on the puck, and it looks like he will find the kill as well. Great rotation there from Cuckoo, saving that mid-Razor and finding a trade. GeekFam happily backing out of there now. 2-3 lead their way. 1k net worth lead as well going their way. So far, at the very least, they have won the top and mid lane. Looks like they have found a trusty shovel. That will be on Ryoya, I believe, on the Razor, perhaps. In fact, he's given it to Dubu on the Keeper of the Light. The shovel is arguably one of the better items you can find in the jungle. Especially if you find those bounty runes. Dubu. Careful, he's getting very, very low. March won't be able to get the decay off. See Tim's here as well. Trying to ensure that the side of GeekFam can't freely farm this jungle. All these stacks being taken, Ryoya is finding quite a few items for himself. Back down to the bot lane. Gabby farming pretty decently on the Gyrocopter. He was slightly behind though earlier on, so he's just trying to catch up. Cuckoo hasn't really left him alone on the Abaddon either. The KP is going to be the top of the net worth board on the Venge. Does have the full Helm of Dom up. Does go ahead and take himself a Centaur Conqueror. Took both sides. Just going to be comfortable to farm for a bit. Royal Jelly going to be found by Armel. Our bot though, Gabby, going to get caught out. Static Link will be there as well as the Plasma Field, but here come the rotations. Still, they found the Gyrocopter, but can TNC punish? Looks like the Tombstone was dropped. March trying to hold them down as long as possible. Now Ryoya gets stunned up, but still they're being controlled up here by GeekFam. In fact, they might lose Armel on the OD, and they do. They'll lose March as well on the Undying. KP now going to get chased down, but no, he swaps Tims in. Tims will orb away. KP may not be so lucky though. He will go down in the end. And Tims, he didn't actually use the orb. He's just going to try and make a run for it, but Zephyr is on his tail. They will leave him be. That is a massive win for the side of GeekFam, finding 4 heroes for the price of none. They should be able to secure quite a few banner runes as well now. Tims is going to try and go for the steal. Does throw an orb out and will not find it. Ryoya, he didn't actually orb back Tims. I think he may have used that orb a second too early. He had nothing to go back to, and Ryoya just finds a very, very easy pick-off as well as the bounty for himself. 2-8 now. 3k net worth lead for GeekFam. Gabby on the gyro is still desperately trying to get his farm up. Same goes for Armel, who was just shut down by Ryoya on the Razor. GeekFam not looking to slow this down at any point. They've started taking over the Radiant side jungle now, trying to maintain map control. KP farm some ancients, but GeekFam are going to show themselves. Raven, Dragon form up, goes straight after the puck now, and well, Tims doesn't really have anywhere to go. He will try and orb away and does get away with it, but the neutrals will take him low enough that Raven's poison will tick him out. That is just so unfortunate. Meanwhile, March goes down to Cuckoo up at the top lane. That's going to make it a 2-10 now at 11.5 minutes in. They are going to claim that T1 mid tower as well. Dragon form does take it quite easily. GeekFam. It's like a completely different team going into game 2. It's really getting all of it together and making it work. At least for now. Armel doing the best he can. It's just so important that Armel and Gabby can get up and online as soon as possible going to this mid game. See, they do have the stronger late game in the OD and the gyro regardless, but I don't see GeekFam waiting that long if they do take control throughout the mid. KP gonna rotate in. March does end up going down up in the mid lane. Ryoya does find him by himself. The gank attempt though onto Raven will not work out. He just pops the drums and runs away. Zephyr is there now as well, and it looks like they are gonna make a slight chase onto KP. He's gonna walk out of there safely. Instead, they'll rotate up top. They'll see Gabby on the gyro. Tims is there with the Dream Call though, so they do have to be a little bit wary of that. But Dubu has the Will-O-Wisp, doesn't drop it yet. We'll start off with the Blinding Light. Now lift is going to be there onto the park. Tims getting very low and looks like he is just dead. March, he popped the Golem, but is it even going to matter? Will-O-Wisp comes out from Dubu now. Blinding Light as well. Still, they've got control of this Undying, and March, he is just dead. Now the swap away. The buyback will come out from Tims. Do they still want to fight this? Raven, he gets swapped on top of the cliff. He's just stuck there for a while. Cuckoo's going to chase Armel though. Ryoya finds Gabby on the gyrocopter. They are perhaps going to find the OD though. No Dream Call, and Sanities does no damage. Dubu ends up finding KP. They're going to go for more now in the form of the OD, and Armel has nowhere to go except down, and that is exactly where he goes. And with that, a tier 1 tower to be taken once again by the side of GeekFam. The buybacks were there from TNC, or at the very least on Tims, but it just didn't matter. Just seems like they're way too far behind right now. That GeekFam, they still have Raven on top of that cliff. He's got a TP in 1 second, but they know he's there. Raven gonna go for the TP now. Gabby didn't have the homing missile available to throw out. Cuckoo, while he's still around, does take the bounty and gets the outpost. He has borrowed time available. He should be perfectly fine here. In fact, they may try and turn this as Ryoya does rotate in on the Razor. They do go for the standing click on Gabby. Now the rotation from Zephyr on the Rubik, but Gabby looks like he's just dead. Ryoya does get stunned up by KP, but is it going to matter? It certainly will. Armel will find the Razor kill. The GeekFam are going to be able to walk out of there. Tims can Dream Call and does do so. Still have the battle with the Phonic Shield, but apparently it won't matter. TNC do surrender, do find the kill. It looks like it will end up being a 2-for-1 trade for the side of TNC. Zephyr, a nice little juke there on the Rubik, and will manage to get out. So although you lost Gabby on the Gyro, it doesn't matter too much. You still found some very valuable kills on the side of GeekFam. GeekFam do maintain a 7k net worth lead going into 16 minutes. TNC now perhaps ready to go. They're going to scout out Ryoya. Certainly not the easiest target. Got Dream Call in 15 seconds. Armel going to be able to walk away. The Vampire Fangs being dropped. This time Raven picks it up on the DK. You see a defusal coming out on Gabby now on the Gyro. TNC slowly but surely clawing their way back into this game. Got some decent farm coming out on Armel and the OD. Gabby is still fairly behind on the Gyrocopter, but Gyrocopters do tend to catch up pretty darn quickly. Thing is though, you look at Zephyr on the support Rubik, he's got BOTs and Blink Dagger up now, so he can just be all over the map. So you could expect GeekFam to start being even more aggressive. Stuff being completed on Armel. Bit more mobility for this OD, a bit more of an escape mechanism coming out. Raven very soon will have the full BKB up. Does find himself another Grove Bow. No, gotta be careful here, but does have the help of the Undying around. Raven just gonna hide in the tree line for a bit. You will see rotations now coming in from GeekFam though. They have smoked up. Looks like the setup is there from Raven. He stuns Armel straight away. March will pop the golem, but it doesn't matter. The Will-O-Wisp will be there onto Armel, and it looks like he just goes down. Now they take an easy kill onto March, and there's really nobody else from TNC around the area. The GeekFam may just start pushing in that bot tier 2 tower. TNC, they may even lose Tims, though he does orb TP away. Looks like he will end up surviving. But a 4-19. GeekFam just not letting off quite yet. Gabby, this is not where you want to be right now. Gonna spot out Dubu. There will be a TP in from Tims. Looks like Raven will manage to walk out of there safely. He has the 10-second BKB charge now available anyway, so I don't really see them being able to kill him off. Make matters worse, now the rest of GeekFam are here and ready to go. KP, gonna scout him out, but we'll throw out the magic missile, but there's Zephyr with the blink and lift. He does steal the magic missile as well, and it looks like they have found KP on the Venge, although he is still surviving. Now the Dream Core comes in from Tims. The Flak Cannon from Gabby as well, doing a fair bit of damage, but not quite enough. Blinding Light to fly out. Raven, he BKBs up as well. Zephyr, another stun, so he does find KP on the Venge, and it looks like Gabby is just going to be surrounded. It's going to be a double kill coming out from Zephyr. And the rest of TNC just get the hell out of there. So far, not one teamfight has really gone TNC's way. Mind you, they didn't have Armel there to help out. He understands, he just needs to keep farming up right now. There's no need for him to try and push the issue. But GeekFam, they are not slowing down. Another smoke. Gonna find Armel. Will-O-Wisp will be there just before the 4-stuff, and now the Blinding Light. Static Link to follow. Astral will delay things for just a bit, but Armel does appear to just be dead here, as he is surrounded once again by GeekFam. They extend the lead to 10k now. We'll have a quick look at the Dota Plus probability, and it is at 97% the way of GeekFam. Meanwhile, at top, Zephyr does get caught out by the Dream Core, but Tims, he needs more damage output. It looks like he will have Gabby there to help, and now the Dream Core has been stolen, but it doesn't matter. Zephyr will end up going down. But while all that's happening, GeekFam will happily go ahead and trade his life for a tier 2 mid tower. Although the fortification will protect the tower for now. GeekFam, they will stick around in the Radiant side jungle at least for a little bit. Like Gabby, just trying to finish off that BKB on the gyro now. For the Aghanim Scepter after that. GeekFam looking to perhaps smoke once again. That is exactly what they do. They go for though. Now gonna run through the east side jungle of the Radiant. They may run into KP on the Venge. And yeah, they do. Zephyr immediately blinks and lifts. Raven is there with the follow-up stun, and there's just no help around for KP. And with that, an immediate transition into that tier 2. In fact, they may go for a tier 3 afterwards. Got so much time on that dragon form left. Yeah, that's exactly what GeekFam want to do. Straight into that high ground. There's no buyback available on KP. They're going to jump in straight onto March. That Undying is not going to sustain that much damage. And with that, it's a 3v5 situation. The Raxes now are exposed, and that's exactly what they go for. And GeekFam, 23 minutes, going to take a Rax, though no, they jump in straight after Tims as well, and the puck is gone. He does have buyback and does expend it, but the Rax is already gone. GeekFam, are they going to keep going? It looks like they actually are. Straight into the secondary tier 3 at the bot lane. Raven still holding on to that 9-second charge on his BKB. They'll take the tier 3. Dragon form is about to wear off, so they'll back out of there safely. That is just a huge win for this Dire side. There appears to be no comeback in sight for the side of TNC yet. March will buy a smoke though. Perhaps this is the play they need. Won't smoke up quite yet. But they're just out on a dewarding mission. GeekFam setting up for that bot lane once again. Butterfly will be there now for Ryoya on the Razor. Just bring it out on the Courier. Raven does have that level 3 Dragon form and we'll start moving in. In fact, he goes straight after KP on the bench. Tombstone is dropped, but look at that Will-O-Wisp. Just perfectly placed by Dubu. They'll find one in Gabby. KP goes down as well, and March is just a sitting duck. He's gone. This could just be GG. They'll buy back on March. But again, they don't have buybacks available on the Gyro, nor do they have it on the Venge. And in fact, they jump straight back in on March on the Undying. BKB popped by Armel. He's going to have to try and manfight by himself. He does get into his fountain, but it's going to be a dieback on March, and the GG has been called. In GeekFam, they're going to go for a rampage. It will not work out. Dubu will steal it with the blinding light. But nevertheless, GeekFam pull off an impressive victory. That will even it out 1-1. Certainly not what I expected going into the second game. TNC just were the heavy favorites, but GeekFam really showing up. Nevertheless, that will be the first best of 2 series today. Of course, there is many more to come. I'll have to find out exactly what our next game is going to be. I believe it should be either Adroit vs Reality Rift or Boom Esports vs SG Dragons. So I'll update you guys as soon as I know. It is MLP Dota. I'll see you guys very, very soon for that second series. Won't be too long. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our second series of the day. It will be Reality Rift versing Adroit. Should be a much closer and more interesting matchup between these two as, both these teams, they do pop out here and there in the closed qualifiers. Both teams finding themselves with another shot, make it towards a major, even a minor for that matter, but definitely wanting to go to the major first. So we'll see how all this pans out between these two as Adroit ban out the Keeper of Light as their third ban, and Reality Rift, they will go ahead and ban out the Chen for their third ban. Right, straight away with their first pick, do go straight into the Venomancer. Very popular hero throughout this new patch. Reality Rift will have the first and second pick for themselves now as well. Looks like RR though will spend a bit more time with their first pick, as Detroit were just insta-picking that Veno. So going to the AA. Hero we didn't see much in the previous patch. It seems RR do feel confident with it and they will go for the Sand King. A hero we saw a lot in the previous patch. And it really didn't receive any nerfs for this hero, so you can't really blame RR for just going ahead and picking it up. It's just such a stable position 3 to have on your side of things, or even a position 4 if you want it, run it that way, but it mostly is a position 3. See what RR do choose to do with it though as Adroit. Second pick up for them now. Oh, here we go, the Lone Druid will pop out. This hero has become a lot more powerful throughout this new patch. I mean, just with the jungle items alone, you have a bear and a hero to put all these items on. It's just one of those heroes that does seemingly going to be powerful throughout the whole patch if it continues to go this way. And I do love that we get to see it through this game number 1. Feels like this hero was ignored for so long, for a couple years, but finally back. Yeah, I want to deal with it. Once again, the Razor. We ban out this series. Or I do not want to see this popping up. Right, of course, getting rid of the Doom is their 4th ban. We'll see the Alchemist ban once again. Time Adroit will get rid of it, so no team seemingly wanting to see the Alchemist pop out in any game. And I don't quite blame them, the Alchemist is just an annoying hero to have to go up against. Especially again with so many bounty runes on the map. Rather. The Rubik. It's a fair ban. I mean, you've got the Ice Blast, but more importantly, the Burrow Strike from the Sand King is just so potent on the Rubik. Absolutely no cast time with it. So easy to steal as well. The Omni Knight now. Pick up for Reality Rift. And another hero that didn't really receive too many nerfs throughout the new patch. It is still quite potent, especially with that Heavenly Grace. It's only going to be effective up against the Entangle of the Spirit Bear. The Venomancer not going to enjoy going up against this Omni Knight. Adroit, 3rd pick for them now. Already got 2 cores up. You see some supports coming out from Adroit, and they'll go for the Witch Doctor pickup. I don't mind this at all. I mean, the Paralyzing Cask is just such a good stun. So darn annoying in the team fights. Melodic does just seem to be so powerful. Even that Death Ward, you do ignore the Witch Doctor throughout a team fight, he can dish out so much damage. Ara though, not going to be too phased by this, I'm sure. Ara, that reserve time up now for this fourth pickup. How do you deal with this lone druid? I believe the OD is still super potent up against the lone druid spirit bear. Go for that option. They'll go for the gyrocopter though. Saw the gyro being picked up last game by TNC to no avail. Right, if they can get a good start and just shut this gyro down, he can essentially just become a useless hero. Of course, you always have the comeback potential, but see what Adroit gets up to now with their fourth pickup. Again, no reserve time being used, and they'll go for the clock. This is a hero I've been waiting to pop out. I mean, it's didn't receive much buffs, but it does seem to be much more viable, especially considering you do tend to fight a lot more in this patch, rather than just sitting in lane the whole time. You do have the hookshot on a very low cooldown now as well. At level 1, I believe it is only 60 seconds. It goes a lot lower as the levels go up. Allow the clock to just jump straight into that gyrocopter, especially while he doesn't have a BKB, and just shut him down throughout a team fight. Even the AA would be nice, just get rid of that Ice Blast. These final banouts now. Alright, just using basically the rest of the reserve time for this. Looking to ban, well, a safe lane in the form of the Lycan, it seems like, or rather a mid lane. Haven't seen that Lycan be able to pop up in any game yet. It has always been banned out. Right? About this last ban quite deeply as well. RR still are looking for a mid laner. But what is it that Adroit don't want to deal with? We saw the TA being banned out in both games last series, and Adroit could certainly do the same now. But I don't believe the TA is too much of an issue because you already have the Venomancer there. The Ember does still seem pretty strong as well. You could always just go ahead and get rid of him. But go ahead and get rid of the Husker. No cheesing to happen from RR. And they'll pick up the Ember themselves. Fair enough. RR, how do you finish this off? That Ember isn't very easy to deal with throughout that mid lane. They could always just pick up something safer like Alina, who can just attack from a mile away, and it's not the best pickup it feels like for RR, but you can't really go for TA, you can't really go for Brood. Could go for the OD, it does seem to still work quite nicely. Again though, we did see a similar draft last game that just didn't pan out very well. Would have loved the Razor right now, but RR banned out themselves in the second ban phase. And they'll go for the Drow instead. Fair enough. So we've got a bit of a Drow strat going on here. Mostly just between the Drow and the Gyrocopter. The Silence is still going to be very, very effective up against the Ember Spirit though, so you can definitely see the value in this Drow pick. Droid's draft though does look relatively scary. One of the newer experimental drafts certainly, but does seem very, very hard to deal with. A lot of mobility, a lot of damage, a lot of disable just in the form of that Witch Doctor alone. Problem is with this Drow, you've got the catch there. I mean, the Ember Spirit can just get the Sleight of Fist chains off onto Alacrity. Also got the hook there from Bok on the clock. So it does feel like this Drow is going to be a bit of a sitting duck throughout these team fights. See how much work Drew can get done on the Gyrocopter. It's going to be more about how much farm he can get in the lanes and in the jungle. But if their lanes don't go well for the side of the Radiant, it does seem like a droid are just going to run all over them. Get into the game very, very soon and find out how all this pans out. Alright. And we'll get into it. So, RR versus Droid, game number 1. It does look like Alacrity is going to go for the mid Drow, which does seem to work okay up against Mac if he does go mid on the Ember, which he should. It's like Boomy may take over the mid lane though on the Venomancer. I'm sure they'll just switch it up. Drew will be there on the safe lane as that Gyro. Nuts will be there to support on the AA. Still a very dangerous lane for them though. I mean, this clock, if he does get started, can be very hard to stop. Especially if he has Boomy there on the Venomancer. RR really setting up to ensure they get these top bounties. Natsumi always has the Spirit Bear to get it for him. KYXY should be able to spot this out. But here comes CML as well. They really want to just pincer this Omni Knight. It looks like KYXY does manage to pick up the bounty though. It will be a 2-for-2 trade in the end. Another very even start between both teams. And Mac will indeed rotate back into the mid lane as the Ember. So he's more than happy to go up against that Drow being played by Alacrity. I don't think he should really be able to shut Alacrity down very well. Not up until those later levels. Alacrity should be able to get some decent farm in this mid lane. Plus top lane though, I can't say the same for KYXY. Like, up against the lone druid, even the witch doctor himself, it's going to be very, very hard to get in range because of that. Entangle just constantly going to be coming in from that spirit bear. KYXY, all he can do is run and hope for the best. Another entangle comes out for KYXY. Alacrity, meanwhile, does end up finding Mac's courier mid lane. So Mac losing his courier very early on, and that's going to be a massive loss for the Ember. Does really rely on bringing out multiple sources of regen out to stay in this lane as that Ember Spirit, but now Alacrity certainly going to have that advantage to himself. Can happily just continue harassing out this Ember, understanding he won't have any regen to use. Like, he just uses his salve now. He has one shared tango left. Meanwhile, Boomy looks like he's just gonna sit in the jungle and use Veto wards, just farm up these ancient stacks. This is quite a reliable and quick way of farming up on the Venomancer. So essentially, you're gonna have 4 cores on the side of a droid. While Bok is going to stay in the bot lane. He won't find much farm, but he'll have all that solo XP to himself. And as I say that, looks like Hustler will find another courier. This time Natsumi's courier going down. So that's 2 gone for the side of a droid. CML will try to punish him, but I don't believe he'll get too much damage off onto the Sand King. Does have Burrow Strike just in case as well. Of course, mid lane, a bit of a mad fight going on between Alacrity and Mac, though it looks like Mac will win out on that. He does find the first blood for the side of a droid. Alacrity, I'm not sure what he was doing in that position. Does end up losing his life to Mac. Of course, he will just TP straight back into the lane, but he had such an advantage with that courier going down. Now, Mac, he has his courier back, he finds first blood, and suddenly it looks like Mac's got all the advantage, though, Alacrity. With the multi-shot. Harassing out Mac. Like Natsumi's still having a great old time up against KYXY. At the very least, KYXY is still sustaining. As the levels go up on this lone druid, it just gets more and more dangerous. Hustler will rejoin this top lane though. Meanwhile, Alacrity really dishing out the harassment towards Mac. In fact, there's the multi-shot, and he does find the kill. Just barely Alacrity finds it. A nice pickup from the Drow. It's not so often you used to see a Drow finding kills by herself, but apparently that's a thing now in the new patch. Mac not going to be too happy about that one. Back down to the bot lane, Drew. Pretty well on the gyrocopter, 24 last hits, 9 denies. Of course, Bok not really able to shut him down on the clockwork. He only has about 7 and 7 himself. There's just not much he can do. He's just going to rely on getting all this XP for himself and trying to pursue these kills after the 10-minute mark. Of course, Boomy's having a great old time though. Top of the last hits board, and he can just go on like this forever. Taking full advantage of those jungle items that can drop as well. It's already at level 5. He's going to hit a very, very fast level 6 timing. So, looks like Alacrity has rotated in. Though Bok maybe okay. Nuts. Does he want to keep going? The cold feet is going to be there on Bok. It won't really matter though. They just wanted the bounty rune. Should be able to find the west side bounty as well. Both teams have just left it for now. That should just be the gyros. It's going to be Pretty big concern here for a droid. I mean, the Gyro and the Drow are still farming very, very well. I mean, you could just rely on the fact that Boomy's already got a mech up, which is kind of ridiculous. I mean, that was about 5 minutes in he got that mech. So perhaps now with that mechanism, you can start really pushing the issue down at this bot lane. RR are set up to defend. They've got 3 heroes down at the bot. Boomy, pushing up the harassment towards Drew. Hustler, only level 4 of the Sand King. Does have that level 2 Burrow Strike effect. They're going to jump in now. Bok, who are you going for? He goes straight after Nuts on the AA. Gets the cogs off as well. With that battery assault, it will be a very, very easy kill. Hustler actually never threw out the Burrow Strike to try and help. Looks like he just held on to it just in case they went after the gyrocopter. And with that, with all these Serpent wards, or rather Veno wards, you'll be able to just get the tier 1 bot tower very easily. Hustler. There's no more Sandstorm. Have to be very careful about how he approaches this. Gets Maledicted and Cast comes out. He's copying a fair bit of damage, but he will go into the Sandstorm once again. Will be able to survive, though. I can't say the same for Bok, who is in a lot of trouble right now. Alacrity will be there, and Bok does go down. Meanwhile, Hustler does actually end up finding CML on the Witch Doctor. Boomy isn't really backing off yet. It seems like he does want to try and get this Sand King. Just waiting out that Sandstorm to expire. It does, but he won't be there for the Venomous Gale. In fact, he didn't even have it skilled up. Now Bok's Courier goes down as Hustler. Gonna rotate in onto Boomy. Boomy now gonna find a bounty rune there for absolutely no reason. He does cop a Burrow Strike though, and does go down to Drew on the Gyrocopter. Top lane, there will be another trade. KYXY going down now. Bok does fall relatively low on the clock, but he will be able to walk out of there safely. So we have a 4-3 slight net worth lead for the side of a droid on the Dire. Essentially still a very, very even game. Back now. Meet up with Boomy. Give Boomy the Arcane Ring. Got more mana sustain now on that Venomancer. Mid lane Alacrity could be in trouble. Back doesn't have chains yet though, so he doesn't really have a way to hold Alacrity down, but he does have CML in the back waiting to throw out that cask. CML does run in, but does also back off. Meanwhile, up at the top, Natsumi going to be in trouble as they do loop around on the side of RR. This lone droid is all by himself. That rocket flare coming out, the homing missile as well, and the call down. It will be more than enough though. Mac, he rotates in on the Ember. Who's he going for? He remnants straight towards Nuts. Doesn't have the chains, but may not even need it. In fact, he doesn't. The Flame Guard and right clicks will be enough. But now CML going to be chased down by Drew. Though Drew going to try and backpedal as Mac has not done yet. He's still got that haste rune active. There's the Heavenly Grace. Drew will be safe. Bot lane though. Hustler going to go after Bok. Bok has the battery assault and he's going to continue to chase his Sand King, but it's in the Sandstorm. He does have mech though coming out from Boomy and he will survive. That'll make it a 5-5 now. The slight net worth lead does go the way of RR now. While all that was happening, the mid tier 1 was being pushed in by Alacrity on the Drow. Looks like Alacrity will rotate up top to try and help out Drew, who's in a lot of trouble. Nice silence as well as the multi-shot coming out. But Mac will sustain. In fact, a mango tree has been planted for the side of RR. Alacrity. Bounty runes doesn't get the silence off in time. A nice dodge there by Mac. They would at least get the outpost. But, Dire side, they will be able to find the west side outpost being taken by Bok. Looks like CML though. He's going to be going down. Throws out the cask and he's still alive throughout all this, but KYXY is not leaving him alone. Meanwhile, Mac jumping in, but he jumped into 3 of them. He tries to remnant out. It looks like he will do so for now, but KYXY, He does not want to continue the chase. They will leave them be. Somehow CML managed to survive all that. Mac will just get straight back to farming. RR. You can tell they're really trying to push the issue early on with this Drow, but hasn't really been working out for them. Still top lane. KYXY, Ice Blast gonna come out. He does take it. Bok is there as well with the Ice Blast passive, but Nuts gonna go down regardless. KYXY could not help out. Too low on HP, had no mana, and just need to get the hell out of there. Still this Drow just farming so darn well. Closely followed by the Venomancer, but the Drow does certainly seem a lot scarier. Still though, Adroit don't seem too phased by any of this. Hustler, Burrow Strike into the Sandstorm on Mac. Mac will be able to get out of there safely though. Alacrity finding himself a trusty shovel now. Right, they have smoked up. Straight towards that mid lane. Boomy is almost just trying to bait in the side of RR, but nobody's taking the bait. So I say that KYXY does run back in, but he has Heavenly Grace available. Now Drew though runs in, but this is not what he wanted. Mac, can you hold him down? Not quite, but a beautiful hookshot coming out from Bok, just holding Drew down. Still, the Rocket Flare will take him out. Now the Burrow Strike as well. Mac just trying to control up this Gyrocopter, but Mac is falling low and he does go. Hustler, he'll be the trade there from Natsumi. But it's a 2-for-1 trade, and Reality Rift are certainly going to be happier about that one. In fact, they may find the Veno, though. Alacrity, got to be so careful as Natsumi runs in. Where's the Entangle? Heavenly Grace comes out, and Alacrity still running away. Natsumi making the chase. Won't quite find it. They will find that T1 mid tower. Burrow Strike though, Hustler gonna try and slow this down, but he gets dusted up. Ice Blast is gonna be pretty darn nice from Nuts, but there won't be any follow-up to it. Will at least force back the side of Adroit. Certainly don't want to allow that T1 mid tower to go down that quickly, as it does open up the map quite a lot for the side of Adroit. Back. Saying hello to Drew. Drew has some friends coming up in the smoke. Mac got to be careful not to get hit by that gust of Alacrity. You spot him out. Drums being popped. There's the Burrow into the Ice Blast and the Silence as well, and that is definitely a dead Mac. In fact, they even take the broom handle away from the Ember. Give that to Alacrity, it looks like. That the T1 top tower going to be taken down as well. Alright, certainly making the plays for themselves. Certainly still is a very, very even game between these two. Look at that top T1. Right. To set up for that mid T1 once again. RR are going to be the ones starting to push in that mid tier one themselves. Drew already set up behind the trees. Droid, can you really defend this? Well, Bok, he's going to run in straight with the cogs, but there's the gust coming out. Mac jumps in as well. Poison Nova is there on KYXY as well as the call down. Epicenter not really doing much either, but they have found the Venom Boomy. He goes down. Now Mac still chasing after Drew, but he has the Guardian Angel there. Bok is falling very, very low. Mac, he'll go ahead and take down KYXY on the Omni. So a 1-for-2 trade to the side of RR. Hustler does manage to survive on the Sand King. They do find that T1 tower as well, and it looks like they are very happy with that. Still though, there is a lot of pressure being applied down bot. Natsumi going to be able to find a free tier 2 tower. There will be absolutely no contention for that. You could argue Droid are going to be okay with that trade. Still, they definitely want that mid tier 1 for themselves. Embrace on Alacrity, just so much value in terms of stats. Now Adroit move their way up top. Nuts. Give vision for a second, but unfortunately that was right underneath the sentry ward. This Observer does go down. Well, Adroit are completely aware that they're there, but it looks like they aren't interested in taking the team fight quite yet. Implore is there on Mac as well. That's a great item on this Ember. Just getting that first hit crit never hurts on an Ember Spirit of all things. Like they will jump in. It looks like RR will go straight after CML, and the Witch Doctor easily going down. Hustler with the Burrow and the Rocket Flare is there from Drew. And it looks like that'll be the end of that. Excuse me, the Rocket Barrage, I should say. Meanwhile, bot, Natsumi. After KYXY, but looks like the Omni should be perfectly fine. No help around here for Natsumi to really be able to take this guy out, but he does get the Entangle. There's the Heavenly Grace coming out. Still, Natsumi does have help coming into the outpost. In fact, Mac does loop around from the river, and KYXY now certainly not wanting to remain any longer. He's just going to try and outrun the side of a droid, and does do so successfully. Boomy, TP, Burrow Strike is going to be there from Hustler. Ice Blast just in case. The Roshan almost taking the kill away. But Drew will find it with that Rocket Barrage. And with that, they loop around straight towards that top lane. Want that tier 2 tower, or at least to apply some pressure. Center, straight onto Mac, though it was cancelled off early on. He didn't actually get the epi off. Hustler now, well, he's trapped up in the cogs, and that's a lot of damage coming up, though. Guardian Angel will be there from KYXY. Drew with the call down as well, finding Bok, and they do find Mac on the Ember as well. Now the Ice Blast, CML, is he going to take it? It's not even necessary. Drew finds the kill with the Barrage, and with that, they find a Spirit Bear as well. That's going to be 300 gold to Alacrity on the Drow. And so a 3-for-0 trade. Hustler's Epicenter, unfortunately being cancelled off a little early. Just didn't matter though. Still found the kills. That also allows Drew now to have that Aghanim Scepter up on the Gyrocopter. So you got a lot more damage output from him. Alright, they take the outpost and they go straight back up top. Adroit, not really expecting this to happen. Boomy just going to try and outrun the homing missile, and it looks like he should be alright. Also see Natsumi Does have the Radiance up on the Spirit Bear now. Would help the cause of a droid quite a bit. Just seems like once that Guardian Angel comes in, it's just so hard to deal with RRs. They just start running at you. Bok has been struggling quite a bit on this clock. Don't really snowball as a clock. It is hard to maintain the plays throughout a game, and it is getting later on where this clock is just starting to drop off. The hook shot's always going to be useful, but it doesn't really have any survivability after that. Right? Are you going to smoke? Yep, they will. We'll see Mac. He does pick up the Maelstrom now on the Ember. So you've got that added damage output, and it looks like they are going to go after Drew on the Gyro. In fact, a nice hook shot is there from Bok. They trap him up, though. The Ice Blast will fly in straight from behind Drew. He's somehow still alive, but the Entangle comes in just in the nick of time. And with that, it looks like Mac wants to go for more, but he's copying a fair bit of damage. He gets 4-staffed out of there. And RR, even though they've lost their Gyro, it almost looks like they wanted to keep going. KYXY now being controlled up. Venomous Gale will come out though. Nice Burrow Strike coming from Hustler. The Silence as well onto 2. They will get Mac surely on the Ember though. No, the mischance was there and it does affect him though. Hustler still finds him with the Sandstorm. Bok even going down to KYXY on the Omni. So a 1-for-2 trade once again for RR. A 3k net worth lead now for this Radiant side. Droid just seemingly not able to find their footing in this game. Natsumi is still building up quite a bit on his Spirit Bear, but it just seems like his Spirit Bear goes down so darn quick. See Boomy going for an Aghanim Scepter as well, but still quite a while though. Top lane, Nuts goes down. 2 Bok on the clock. Nice little pick up there from the Clockwork. RR. Rotators 3. They may make a play for Mac, though he is quite far away from the side of RR. Like he will remnant out anyway towards his own shrine. Well, Natsumi just trying to rat out that mid-tier 1, but Hustler is there immediately to defend. Nuts doesn't cop the chains. Rocket Flare will connect, but Nuts should be alright on the AA. There is still Boomy looping around from behind though. He could go for a quick kill and TP out. Looks like he will attempt it, but just drops a ward. That'll be the end of that. Hustler was there just in case. He'll try to go after that tier 1 mid tower, and Boomy should be able to find it though. Epicenter from Hustler. He gets the blink into the Burrow Strike, into the Ice Blast, and Boomy will survive for now. The 4 stuff was just in time. And immediately TP's out of there. Top lane, meanwhile, Mac trying to find where this Gyrocopter's gone. Alacrity looking to manfight regardless. Boomy will TP in as the Veno, but it looks like a droid just want to get the hell out of here. As RR aren't backing off, they're moving forward, they're trying to find a target. Mac would be a very nice one, but there's just no way to lock him down unless you hit that silence. In fact, never mind, the Burrow Strike will be there, but now the hook. Bok make sure they can't follow up. Still, Bok should lose his own life, and in fact, they found Hustler on the Sand King. Now the Ice Blast flying through. They will find the clockwork, but that's all they found so far. Now there'll be a buyback coming up from Bok. The Spirit Bear does go down, but there's the Entangle coming out on the Omni. Still Guardian Angel coming out as well. CML, where's your Paralyzing Cask? It's on cooldown. KYXY thinking about turning around, but he's got no teammates around him. They focus their attention on Drew instead, and he goes down. KYXY now, the cask comes out. Boomy does go down to Alacrity, but it doesn't matter as KYXY will lose his own life and nuts. Barely manages to TP out of there. But it's a 1-for-3 trade. To be fair, there was a buyback being expended by Bok, but Adroit desperately needed a team fight like that. That was a lot of golden XP going the way of the Dire's side. And with that team fight, they do find a T1 tower to boot. So Adroit finding some stable ground to stand on. Got Mac there now with the double damage bottled up, so they may opt to go for another smoke attempt. Certainly feels like a good time for it. Boomy actually just forgets about the Aghanim Scepter. It's going to go into a Solar Crest instead. The Craggy Coat picked up by CML now. Give that over to Bok, it looks like. So got that added armor. Bok gonna be just a little bit tanky with that 13 armor now on the clockwork. Farm has certainly slowed down for the side of RR. They'll get the BKB up on the gyrocopter though, so Drew's going to be feeling a lot more comfortable just man up in these team fights. More stuff as well on Alacrity now in the Drow. Spirit Bear, Natsumi, just going to TP it out. There's no way to cancel it off and he will get out of there. Looks like Boomy just going to force in that bot lane. Trying to get the side of RR back down to defend. So RR, they smoke up and it looks like it's going to be straight to the Roshan pit. It should be kind of obvious to the side of Adroit as nobody's defending that bot lane. But it's going down so darn quickly that they may not have a chance to contest this. And yeah, RR, just a free Roshan for them. The Rocket Flare finally comes out to scout it out, but it's all too late. Got the third eye out. Alacrity. Pin it away to Nuts. Very useful to Nuts, especially for his de-warding. Giving that extra vision. Alright. Smoke up, they're going to go down towards the bot lane where Boomy does show himself on the Veno. It should be a very, very easy pick-off for the side of RR. They do get the Burrow Strike off. Rocket Barrage is there and he has no way out. In fact, he does commit the Poison Nova. There'll be no follow-up to it though, and of course everyone on the side of RR will survive it quite easily. Radiant will directly go towards that outpost and go ahead and take it for themselves. Looks like Adroit will just go ahead and trade for the other. Adroit, there'll be no response to that. Instead, RR will go ahead and take that T1 bot tower. Fortification will be forced, but Alacrity can just stand out of the tower range with that Hurricane Pike. And with that, do they just keep going? It looks like RR are happy to trade with Adroit. So Adroit do take that top tier 2 very, very quickly with that Spirit Bear. But Reality Rift will do the exact same. They'll go for a tier 3. Droid, ready to defend though. Gus will not connect onto Mac, and that'll be the end of that. Meanwhile, bot lane, a bit more ratting going on. The Spirit Bear almost taking down that tier 3 tower. Drew will be there to defend, but she's just always going to be afraid of that lone Druid though. Bot lane, Hustler, going to get caught out. They do punish just a bit. I say a bit, but that T3 copped a lot of damage from the side of a Droid. In fact, KYXY now going to get caught out. Bok doesn't have the cogs to use yet, but he has a lot of teammates coming in. And now with the cogs, KYXY, he needs some help coming in. The Sand King will buy back throughout all this, but a Droid do just happily back out of there. They'll even get the Spirit Bear out safely. They've left the top tower once again. Hustler will be there in time to protect it. We'll survive another day. Remarkably enough though, still only less than 1k the way of a Droid in terms of net worth advantage. Looking at DOTA2, RR still have a massive advantage, 82% their way. Even though I don't believe they've taken a tier 3 tower yet. They've lost one of their own, or almost lost one of their own. It's like RR gonna happily take a tier 2 mid. So nice chains comes out from Mac to set up. Now CML going in with the cask. RR though, standing their ground, not backing off yet. Hookshot is gonna be there from Bok. He's trying to look for a cogs, but he doesn't find the one he wanted. He wanted to separate that gyro from KYXY. Wasn't successful in doing so though. Now Alacrity just happily going to go ahead and take down that tier 2 top tower. His team is going to be there to back him out in just a second. And a Droid, they're just kind of forced to hold their high ground now. Reality Rift though won't force the issue quite yet. Aegis will expire on Drew as well. So a bit of an opening now for a Droid. Radiant do not seem phased. Just holding the high ground of that dire jungle. Rocket Flare though will give vision of this Radiant side. RR still sticking around. I mean, they're being scouted out, but they just don't seem to mind whatsoever. Bok looking to hook in, but not quite yet as Hustler goes in for the burrow first. Now the Ice Blast actually perfectly positioned, though it doesn't seem to connect on the tail end. And now the side of a Droid moving in, trying to go after the supports in the back line. Nuts will be the first target, though KYXY falling low, but does get the Spirit Bear as well. It looks like CML will go down, as well as Bok on the clock. Boomy throws out the Poison Nova, but only connects on Alacrity. So it was a 1-for-2 trade. There will be a buyback from CML on a Droid. But RR certainly come out on top once again. They might even find this Veno Boomy. He's not expecting this. Hustler is there with the Burrow Strike, and it's going to be another easy kill. Although I say that, 4-Staff will be there. Homing Missile is there to follow though. Hustler will have Burrow Strike in just a second, but may not even need it, as the Homing Missile will take him out. 4k net worth lead now remaining for RR. Droid still struggling. They have the Aghanim Scepter now up on Mac, but how much of a difference is it going to make? Like both teams just going to go ahead and secure an outpost each. The Radiant side will start forcing in that mid lane. Bot lane, or rather the top lane, is being pushed in once again. RR won't risk anything. Hustler will go ahead and clear out the creep wave. This does buy a droid at least a little bit of time to try and get some more farm up. Lacrity looks like he's going to go into a Satanic up next. You see the Aghanim Scepter now coming out onto Natsumi, so you do have the ability for the Spirit Bear to actually just roam around and get work done by himself. So more wrap potential for the side of a droid. Again, outposts being traded by both sides. Roshan being scouted out by the Rocket Flare, but it won't be up for another minute and 5 seconds. Still RR are in position to go for that Roshan first. Droid though are making their way up. They understand they can't really afford to give another Aegis away. Like Nuts Courier gets called out, though hookshot is there from Bok. He goes straight after Hustler, but he has no backup. In fact, Hustler just jumps back in with the Burrow Strike. Now they'll focus their attention onto Alacrity, but he BKBs up. Mac, who are you going for? He's trying after Nuts and should be able to find the AA, but doesn't. Mac actually goes down to Alacrity. There's just way too much damage coming out from the Drow. Meanwhile, though, up at the top lane, Natsumi did find a melee barracks and he's going to find the range as well. He should be able to get the Spirit Bear out, though no, it looks like Drew will be able to grab it just beforehand. Still, you lost your Ember, you found the top racks. I think a droid will be very satisfied with that. Roshan is now officially up. TML. Dust will not stop the TP. Hustler did end up finding Boomy though on the Venomancer. Now RR. Straight into that Roshan pit. Drow Ranger hits so darn hard. It's not going to take very long for this Rosh to go down, and it looks like the side of a droid will not be there to counter this. There will be a Rocket Flare. Bok, are you going to try and hook in? He has the vision. Hook shot will not be there in time. They've left the cheese behind though. Bok, he will at least manage to grab the cheese, but it looks like it is going to cost him his life. Ice Blast will be there and Alacrity will clean up with the multi-shot. While that was happening though, bot lane, the tier 3 goes down. Once again, Natsumi was just taking that tier 3 while the Roshan was being taken by the side of RR. Spirit Bear just hits so darn quick, it's just way too hard to stop it with just the Burrow Strike of the Sand King. RR though, still going to be pretty happy. I mean, they didn't get the cheese, but they got the Aegis, and that's the main cause of concern for a droid. Mid lane, RR setting up once again. Droid, already set up to defend. BKB will be popped by Alacrity very early on. In fact, that was, no, never mind, that was actually the Minotaur Horn. Bok hooks in with the cog. Don't find anybody. So Alacrity essentially has a way to bait out the side of a droid with that horn. But look at Natsumi once again with this Spirit Bear, just roaming around the Radiant side jungle. Does find the range barracks. The melee barracks does still stand down at the bot lane, but he's making so much work happen with this lone druid. He should be able to kill it off at the very least. Meanwhile, Bok does end up finding Nuts. Natsumi's Spirit Bear doesn't get out. Surely not. They have the Frost Arrows. They have the Gust. They have the follow-up Burrow Strike. That is a tanky bear. But it will not survive. Alacrity still trying to get that Satanic up, but he just needs the Reaver. Meanwhile, Mac still trying to get that Shiver's Guard up on the Ember Spirit. He's going to be the one holding the cheese as well. Up the double damage. Are they going to try and make a play onto Drew? Looks like they will not. Mac will just use it to farm up that creep wave. The Spell Prism being picked up by Alacrity. Both teams just seem satisfied to continue farming. There isn't much of a net worth lead for either side. RR, they only have a 1k lead for themselves right now. It's just so hard for RR to actually make any sort of play, because every time they try to, Natsumi ends up just taking another Rax for the team. Look at those Spirit Bear items. He does take towers quite quick, although bot lane looks like they have found out Boomy on the Veno, and the Ice Blast should take care of it. In fact, Drew will find the kill on the Gyrocopter. Look at that Spirit Bear. Smoked up. Running by himself towards that base. That Ninja Gear actually allowing him to continue smoking up, and he'll just go straight after the melee barracks by himself. Well, Alacrity does come in and should be able to clean up the Spirit Bear, but can't actually man-fight if it gets too close. Hustler will be there with the Burrow Strike in control though, and the Spirit Bear should eventually go down. So I say that Hustler does still have to be careful, but it does go. Still, with that Ninja Gear, he could just keep doing this over and over again. Nuts. Looks like he will be alright. The hookshot will be there from Bok, and he does manage to get away. So this farming game doesn't seem to be suiting RR whatsoever. Gone to the point now where Mac does have enough finish off that Shiver's guard. He will TP back towards his base for now to defend it up against Alacrity. Tier 3 tower, slowly but surely going down. They'll fortify up. Meanwhile, the Bear, once again Natsumi, is just ratting out the tier 2 mid tower, and now they don't know whether they should keep going or just run away. Alacrity, looks like he did actually pop his real BKB, and now Mac jumps in, but he's going to remnant the hell out of there. Bok falling quite low. He's blade mailed up, but it doesn't really matter as Bok appears to be going down. But he will be the only loss for the side of Adroit. Meanwhile, Hustler just forced to stay back towards the fountain because of this dude. We see a Divine Rapier coming out on Drew now on the Gyrocopter, so he's had enough of this game. You can't play these games anymore with Natsumi. So Divine is out. It does give you the True Strike now as well, so there is a lot more value to it. Boomy. Up a fair bit of damage, still the tier 3 going down. Mac, he'll remnant out as well. Ice Blast would at least go through Mac. Now the buyback from Bok. They want to try and protect this Rax. They will lose the mid though. Now the stun will go out onto Boomy and he gets 4-star forward and Boomy, he's gone. He'll buy back as well immediately, but CML's copping so much damage. Drew is just ripping them apart right now on this Gyrocopter. Mac, he's falling low as well. He'll get 4-staffed out and it looks like Drew has had enough. He wants to get out now. They came what they came for. Well, they got what they came for, I should say. Although Mac jumps back in. BKB pop, and look at the damage coming out from Drew. He can't sustain it. He tries to remnant out and does manage to get away successfully. But Drew will just go straight after CML on the Witch Doctor. And that's going to be a dieback on CML. Drew, do you stick around? Definitely not. But look what's happening in the mid lane. There's almost mega creeps up now. Natsumi, he is going to be able to find them. And so now you have megas. Adroit, I mean the heroes of Adroit have literally not entered the Radiant base. It's just been the Spirit Bear. And with that, RR realizing it's not a good time to back off, just go for that tier 4, go for the Ancients. That's exactly what they do. Drew, he'll get started on one of the tier 4s though. Bok, he does hook in. Blade Mail up, just trying to get out of there. Burrow Strike control is there from Hustler as well as the Ice Blast. They found both. Now they'll go for the secondary tier 4 tower. Where's the defense? They're trying to base race, but Natsumi Spirit Bear is all on its own. Still, can they control the side of Reality Rift? Not quite. They will go ahead and grab the Ancient. And what a game coming out between these two. Adroit trying to rat their way to victory, but it does not pan out in their favor. RR with the Divine pickup on the Gyrocopter do manage to pull it off. That is, of course, game number 1 of 2, so we will have a second game coming up in just a moment. It is MLP Dota. I'll see you very, very soon for that second game. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 2 between Reality Rift and Adroit. It is, of course, MLP Dota joining you once again for these SEA closed qualifiers. If you weren't watching game number 1, it was a rather interesting game. Adroit trying to rat their way to victory with the lone druid. It did not end up working out for them in the end, as we saw Reality Rift just picking up a Divine Rapier on their gyrocopter and really just pushing forward after getting megged by the side of Adroit. It certainly was a game to watch if you hadn't. It's that Spirit Bear took Mega Creeps by itself. Just kept going back for those racks over and over again. For Reality Rift, they just stuck together. They knew their game plan. They just went through mid with the Divine, and suddenly Adroit had no answer. Nevertheless, though, we're into game number 2 now. And funnily enough, Reality Rift do not feel the need to ban out the lone druid. So they don't really see it as a problem. Adroit, however, as of now, haven't actually gotten rid of that Omni Knight, which I believe was a major issue for them last game. See what they do with this third ban, but KYXY on that Omni was making it a real pain to try and fight the side of Reality Rift in that game 1. Because every single time you thought Adroit had the advantage, the Guardian Angel would come out and suddenly the side of Reality Rift would just turn around and decimate the side of Adroit. But they are thinking about it quite heavily now. They'll get rid of the Venge. Fair enough. Reality Rift though, how do you start? Do you go back into that early gyrocopter? Do you pick up the Drow? Do you pick up the lone druid for yourself this time? Plenty of options available for them. Of course, my apologies, by the way, I forgot to mention. Well, there's a Chen. I forgot to mention, I realized there was a problem with the music when we were on the standby screen. Sure you've noticed already, but we did end up fixing it. Looks like it was a bit of a rogue file going on, but it is all fixed up. My apologies for that. It took a while to find the issue, but we've got it. Still, back to the draft. Reality Rift. They do go ahead and first pick a Chen. This hero can be very, very nasty to have to deal with, especially in this new kind of jungle meta. Droid though, they go straight back into that Veno. Last game around, we did see Boomy on that Venomancer. He just stuck in the jungle, just farming up those ancients and those neutral creeps. He allowed Bok on the clock to just solo farm, or rather soak XP by himself in the bot lane. It didn't work out for them in game 1, but I don't believe the Venomancer was the problem. They still have confidence with this hero. Going to the Crystal Maiden now. Nice support pickup from Adroit. Alright, how do you follow up on this Chen? And if they want the lone druid, it's available to them. They could just go for the Drow again as well. They'll go for the Legion Commander pickup. Interesting pick there by RR. Thing is, with this hero, it can just sustain itself so well in lane. It's very hard to beat a Legion Commander in that off lane. Really, in any lane, rather. Like RR, they will go ahead and get rid of the Razor. Right, how do you respond? Well, get rid of the Sand King themselves now. Interestingly enough, neither side has really gotten rid of what appeared to be the problem for either side in Game 1. Being that Drow, being the Omni, even the Gyrocopter. The Lone Druid was a real pain. Just leaving all these heroes alone for now. And there's the Lone Druid ban. I couldn't agree more with Reality Rift on that one. They'll get rid of the Alchemist now on the side of Adroit. So again, for the 4th time in a row, the Alchemist will not make it into any game. Third pick now for Adroit. Already wasted about half their reserve time. They'll go ahead and pick up that Bristleback now. Interesting thing with the Bristleback in this patch, due to the fact that you can just stack up mangoes constantly in your backpack, Bristleback can just stack up mangoes over and over again throughout that mid to late game and never run out of mana. You already have the Crystal Maiden there as well with her own aura, so it's certainly going to help the cause, but those mango stacks that this Bristle can have would be quite potent for the side of Adroit. If you can just spam Quill Spray constantly, can't really lose. RR though, how do you respond to this? Already got the Legion there to force the Bristle to fight face forward. There's that, but it's certainly not going to be enough. Still do have picks like the OD that you can go into up against this Bristle. Rather, they will go for the Lina up first. I believe that probably will just be a position for Lina. Wait again. Back into that reserve time for this 4th pick. Not really much being revealed by Reality Rift quite yet. Quite hard to know what to draft into. Would have loved the Keeper of the Light on the side of Adroit, but it was banned out initially by themselves. We'll go for the Lifestealer. Fair enough, there were some pretty interesting changes made to this Lifestealer, and we'll see how Adroit plan to run it. I haven't had the pleasure of casting a Lifestealer yet, but this will be fun. So a lot of support Lifestealer has been run as of late. I'm not sure if Adroit will run a support Lifestealer this time around, but it does certainly seem viable in this new patch. Alright, gotta start showing us a few more calls here. they'll go straight into the Slark. Now, I don't mind this. Up against the Lifestealer and Bristleback that kind of rely on closing the gap and being close, Slark does just seem to enjoy it. Can just continue to right-click away and get those Essence Shift stacks. Melt the Bristleback, melt the Lifestealer. Of course, this poor Crystal Maiden's probably also not going to have a very good time this game. Not up against the Slark, she isn't. They'll get rid of the TA on the side of a droid. No more thinking about these bans for them. RR though, they still have plenty of time for this final ban. They are going to start diving into it and they'll get rid of the Invoker. RR, how do you finish this off? It does appear that they still require someone in that mid lane, unless they are planning to run the Lina, but I still do believe it is to support Lina for the side of RR. And you still do have the option for heroes like the OD, who do tend to enjoy themselves up against the Bristleback. Final pickup. Having to think about it, RR. Seconds left for this. They'll go for the Storm Spirit. Fair enough. It wasn't the hero I was expecting to come out from RR, but I suppose there aren't really any counters towards it right now for the side of a droid. They really have no way of locking this Storm down apart from the Frostbite, but that isn't really the spell you think of when you're up against the Storm Spirit. Droid now going to be kind of forced to have an answer towards the Storm. Droid, we're going to let the time tick down all the way for this last pick. And it's going to be the Leshrac popping out. So I suppose the Leshrac does do decently up against the Slark. The Storm still seems to have free reign over the map. Just depends on how well Alacrity can get farmed up quickly. He's going to be a position 1 Lifestealer by the look of it. And Natsumi's playing the Lifestealer. Bok is actually on the Bristleback, so it looks like they want to try and make a position for Bristleback work in this game. Of course, they could just switch the heroes, the players around and just make them play different roles, but we'll have to wait and see what a droid's up to. Not very often you see a support Bristle, though. I'm still doubtful that that's the play from a droid. Those we'll have to find out and see with the Detroit RR though. A much more standard lineup for them. It kind of all just works together, and I dare say RR does have the better draft going into this. It's just Alacrity Storm that I'm worried about here for Adroit's sake. Get into it though. Get some answers to these questions I have. Bok rather, is set up for a core bristle. So, Natsumi set up for a position 1 lifestealer as well. But it looks like they're just going to throw the Venomancer as the support this time around. Or rather, Boomy is just going to go back to the jungle. They've got this jungle Veno once again. They're going to allow Bok to just free farm that bot lane by himself and soak XP by himself. So Adroit is going to continue this 4-core lineup. They seem a little bit greedy though. I'm not sure how much farm Bok's going to be able to get on this bristle. Early on, Drew is just going to be able to get in close and get those essence shifts going. Top KYXY. Gonna say hello to CML. Let's cop a Crystal Nova. You're right. True. Fight Boomy over the bounty. It will actually be a 3-for-1 trade, so Adroit only managed to get 1 bounty rune. Boomy now, gotta be slightly careful. Drew, of course, doesn't have the pounce yet. He only has the essence shift right now. Naturally, of course, we will see Mac in the mid lane on the left track. He'll be up against Alacrity on that Storm. This should just be a kind of trading lane. Neither side really has great kill potential early on. You could make the argument that Mac does with the Diabolic Edict as well as the Split Earth, but gotta get that Split Earth off first before he can go for that Diabolic Edict. Looks like Bok will be going for a very early pull. Gonna actually go in and fight Nuts a bit on the Chen. He doesn't actually want to deal with the Slark in the laning stage quite yet. Rather, he will just continue creep skipping with this Bristleback. That is something you can do with all these mangoes and the Quill Spray. He's just going to keep this up. He has 2 mangoes left over. Go for the TP play now as Hustler does rotate down on the Lina. He could not get the LSA off in time. I think Bok will happily go into the laning stage now. So it looks like Drew hasn't really suffered whatsoever on the Slark. He's got 8 last hits, 3 denies. So he hasn't really been missing too much. Hustler, I mean, we'll see what kind of presence he can have, but it does seem like he wants to rotate back up towards the top lane. That 1 TP rotation doesn't really make anything happen, and he's going to make the Walk of Shame back up to the top. You'll see KYXY now struggling just a little bit up against Natsumi. EML, Crystal Nova will connect. Natsumi not really in range to get much damage off. Looks like Hustler has decided he'd rather go into the mid lane where the LSA does connect, but it won't really mean anything. KYXY still falling very, very low on this Legion. He will go for the heal now, and CML going to cop a fair bit of harassment, but he just stands his ground. KYXY does back off at the perfect time, but still does have very, very low HP and can't really risk going back into the lane. In fact, never mind. CML will just find the kill with the Crystal Nova. Alright, underneath the tier 1 tower, Nuts will join in now. on the Chen and try to support this Legion once he's back. Try to punish CML a bit for his insolence, but CML is going to be very satisfied with the pickup he just made. Nuts trying to go after the courier underneath the T1. It will definitely not pay off for him though. Nuts is just continuing this chase. Gets the range creep, goes after the courier and actually finds it as well. Perfect usage of that range creep, but it looks like he may lose his life in the process though. No, CML doesn't have Crystal Nova available yet. Nuts will make a run for it. It was another creep, sends it back after CML. Looks like CML will just go back to the fountain. Well, Alacrity in the mid lane does fall quite low on the Storm, but will salve up. He is actually ahead of Mac in terms of last hits, and as I say that, Mac does take over, but they are very, very even. Bit of a scuttle over this top boundary, or top rune rather. Alacrity does find the invis though. Doesn't really take any use for it though. Keeps farming up in the mid lane. Well, Hustler hasn't really found the lane for himself yet on this laner. He's just continuously been roaming around between the bot and mid lane. There's no real kill potential here with Hustler up against the Bristle, I don't believe. Can just try to dish out some harassment, but it looks like Bok won't really be too concerned whatsoever. Just go into the jungle and start farming up those neutrals. I suppose Hustler will just have to try and remain around the area and just try to steal him off Bok. Instead, he'll go for the creep skip now. The top lane, KYXY, once again falling quite low. Managed to survive. Again, we have the battle of the supports up this top boundary rune spot. CML standing his ground. Doesn't really have mana right now for the Nova. But now he does. It just comes up online, but it's not going to be quite enough. Well, I'm saying that, Nuts, or rather Hustler, ends up finding Boomy on the Venomancer. Bok gonna chase him down and should be able to find this kill with the Quill Spray. One more will do it, and he does get it in the end. So he does at least trade. I do believe Hustler was going to be happier about that though, as he does slow this farm of Boomy down quite a bit. I say that though, Boomy already has the mechanism up. Well, Droid, not going to mind too much in the end. With that mech up, Boomy will now join Bok in that bot lane once again. Trying to make a play onto Drew. Drew though is at that level 6 mark. He's not going to be an easy target to go after. Oh, well, that's happening. Top lane, Nuts is going to fall very, very low, but Natsumi will cease to chase. Looks like Mac has joined in at the bot lane, trying to go after that T1 though. Here comes KYXY as well on the Legion. With that Drew, do you go for a pounce? Not quite, he just wants to get the hell away from Mac, but here comes Alacrity straight after that Leshrac. Get rid of all that damage. Mac is falling quite low and he does get taken down. Now Bokta may turn around with these Quill Sprays and get more out of it, but not quite. Alacrity does find the kill on the Bristleback, and it looks like a courier goes down. Boomy does manage to snag the courier. That was actually Alacrity's courier that he does find. Meanwhile, CML gonna find KYXY, but he doesn't want to deal with him. Bot lane, Boomy ends up losing his life, and Hustler goes down to the Veno wards. So a complete mess down at the bot lane. Does seem to somewhat favor Reality Rift, as they did find the Leshrac, they found the Bristle, and they find the Veno. CML, that is a dangerous place to be. Another courier going down, this time Natsumi's being lost to Nuts on the Chen. Chasing down Bok, but those Quill Sprays are starting to stack up. On top lane, KYXY does have Jewel, but doesn't want to man-fight Natsumi, especially while CML's around. Nuts is there to try and help out, but Natsumi wants to continue this chase. He won't catch up to KYXY. Just get back to farming. That net worth graph, and the Slark is way ahead of anybody else right now. 3.8k net worth. Natsumi just being slowed down quite a bit by KYXY and Nuts. Well, bot, Hustler, may get caught out. Mac, the Split Earth, will not make it in time. He does manage to TP out just in the nick of time. I suppose they could try to go after Drew, but he still has the Shadow Dance available. So with that, they'll transition back towards that bot T1 tower. Try to at least get something out of this. Boomy will find it on the Venom, but now the overwhelming build's coming down from KYXY, and Drew does loop around, but he cops a hell of a lot of damage. Still, Shadow Dance will be procced. He's just going to try and make a run for it, and it looks like they will not find him in time. The RR were not able to punish for that T1 going down. While all that's happening, Natsumi is forcing in the T1 top tower now. The Drew will rotate and defend. But a 4-3 so far, 9.5 minutes in. The Droid do seem to be able to seemingly finding their footing now going into this game. Slashlak is well and truly almost online. Yes, the one issue is Natsumi hasn't as farmed as well as you would have hoped, but he is catching up quite fast. Alacrity though. Spot him out. Won't really make the chase. Like Mac will find KYXY down at the bot lane. So the Legion Commander being left alone down at the bottom does get caught. Alacrity now will go after Natsumi on that Life Sealer. He is by himself, but here comes Hustler. Still, the Rage was there in time to avoid that Dragon Slave damage. While all this is happening, top lane, Drew will start forcing in the T1 tower. They have the Alpha Wolf there with that bonus aura. Nobody will be there to defend from the side of a Droid. They're just going to have to let this one go down. T1's just seemingly so much more important in the side lanes. As get those outposts so much easier once those T1s are gone. Mac get jumped on Alacrity, does get the Vortex, the LSA lands as well as the Laguna, and they just burst down Mac. Another nice kill from the side of RR. Alacrity, slowly but surely, getting up and online on this Storm. He did fall quite a bit behind in the laning stage, but he's not so far behind the Leshrac now. Only about 50 gold, in fact. Ken, you'll see CML and Nuts just hanging around with each other. Drew hasn't left the top lane either ever since he TP'd up there. He's been happy to try and contest farm up against Natsumi on this Life Stealer. There are some heroes from a Droid around the area though now, so he does have to be a lot more wary, but he does have a very nice Observer Ward, giving vision of the dire side jungle. Oh, Mac. I thought Drew may pounce for that. Does not. Mac was just kind of sitting there AFK for a second. Drew does leave him be though. So they do go for the pounce. Alacrity does zip in and Mac's just gone. There was a TP rotation, but that's been cancelled off as well. And with that, with all these Chen creeps, you can push in this tier 2 tower. They will fortify, but it looks like they found CML instead on the CM. Drew didn't have pounce available at the time, so he can't really close the gap. With that now, a Droid starting to move in after the side of RR. They do successfully stop that tier 2 push with the fortification. Are look to be satisfied with this. They'll just back off for a bit, see if they can find another pick off. And Bok isn't exactly the option they wanted, but they could certainly try for it. In fact, they are going to. The pounce will be there. Where's the follow-up though? The stun's coming out. Alacrity, he zips in with the Vortex as well. And Bok, he's not as tanky as you would hope. Especially when you hit him in the face. With that, Nuts picks up another kill. So a 7-4 now. Slight net worth lead by 1k to the side of the Radiant. And Droid, they find themselves in this peculiar situation again. Gonna smoke up. Try to make a play up at that top lane. They'll run into Nuts straight away on the Chen, and that's a very easy pick to take. Nuts is going to try and make it a bit harder, but it is just way too easy for a Droid. Still though, this does allow Drew to get out safely on the Slark, so I don't believe RR will mind too much about that. Yeah, Drew, he'll just safely walk out of there. And I don't know, with this draft from a Droid, I feel like they're not really finding enough across the map to make this draft work. It does seem like eventually Alacrity is just going to be way too big of a problem on the Storm, and you still got the Slark to worry about. Drew is still at the top of the net worth board by a mile. Bot lane though, KYXY. They get caught out. Bok is behind. Mac still using that Pulse Nova, and he does go down to the Quill Spray of Bok. They do end up finding that Legion Commander once again. It's certainly a decent pickup. Of course, they will go ahead and take the outpost straight away after that. Both teams will manage to find themselves 2 Bannerings for their problems. So Bok. Another dangerous position to be in, especially while Drew's around. Do you go for the Pounce? Dark Pact will be there though. Pounce does not connect. So Poc will live another day. Drew to make another play with the Pounce. Poc is ready for it though. But a Rod of Atos now available on Boomy as well, so you've got to be very wary of that if you are the Slark. Especially the Storm Spirit for that matter. Alacrity gonna zip in, looking for Mac. He does get the Vortex off, and again the LSA Laguna straight onto Mac. And he just can't sustain the damage coming out from these two. Doesn't have a Hood of Defiance or anything like that to at least take some of that magic damage away. Still nowhere near a BKB. Nuts, meanwhile, gonna find CML once again on the CM though. She just channels the ultimate straight away, and now Bok comes in to try and help out. Nuts still surviving for a little bit. In fact, Drew is gonna come in to try and help. He'll go straight after the CM. There's the ultimate being popped, and now Alacrity gets brought in as well. They could find 2 for this. Bok still being chased down by Alacrity, and now Drew still going after CML. He doesn't find the CM. Bok does eventually go down. Drew needs to get the hell out of there though. Natsumi, who do you chase? Run up Atos onto the Slark rather than the Storm. It looks like Alacrity is completely out of mana, but he'll be able to walk away slowly but surely. But the open wound's going to be there in just a second, but Drew is going to come back in straight after Mac. They found the Storm Spirit, and now Drew's copying way too much damage. The Gale doesn't connect, and now the 3-man stun from Hustler. He turns it around. They found 3 of them already. They've got the Venomancer, and it's going to be a full team wipe coming out. But can he get the deny on the Roche? No, he cannot. But what a stun coming out from Hustler. And it looks so darn bad for Reality Rift, but that one LSA turning it all around with KYXY. Adroit, they just can't catch a break. RR will go once again towards that top tier 2 tower. This time around, it looks like Drew will be able to complete this tower going down. As I say that, they do fortify, but Drew, does he care enough? I don't believe he will. So Adroit once again on the back foot. 3k net worth lead now to this Radiant side. Drew. A man fight Bok a bit, but he's going to be so careful as Mac is there on the Lesh. The courier almost going down as well. Drew does manage to have his Sergeant Yasha up. Even the Vampire Fangs as well. Bok now. Again, going to feel the presence of Drew on this Slark. Just left the Grove Bow there for the Bristle to take, but he really had no choice. It's like RR just waiting to set up on the side of Adroit. Alacrity looking for Boomy. He doesn't quite zip in all the way. Although they follow the side of Adroit down. KYXY is kind of desperate for some dual damage on this Legion Commander. He's only got 18 so far. What have they gone on? They get the outpost, but Drew is there. Who's he going for, though? He doesn't have a target. KYXY, though. Nice overwhelming odds, but CML just channeling the ultimate Drew. He does go down. They're still going after Bok on the Bristle, but here comes Mac, and now Natsumi pops out as well. But Mac's going down as well. Natsumi, he's a sitting duck right now. Alacrity just zipping after him. He gets the Vortex. KYXY is there with the follow-up damage. It looks like CML will be the next target. They want that tower first. So they'll get the outpost. Hustler will set up onto Boomy on the Veno. And with that slow from Nuts, Boomy should just be dead here. Looks like they will be able to find him. CML, he tried to stick around. He tried to help out. He won't pay for it with his life. But it's a 1-for-4 trade. RR is certainly going to be very, very happy with that one. As they'll go find another bot tier 1 tower. Just appears to be no slowing down here for the Radiant side. Right. You look at Natsumi's farm, he's dropped off so darn much. Look at Mac on the left rack, he hasn't really got anything special to write home about either. So what's the game plan here from Adroit? Except they understand they need a lot more farm on their side of things. Still have this issue where you don't have the greatest lockdown for Alacrity on the Storm. You have the Rod of Atos, but it hasn't really been used on the Storm throughout the team fights. They've mostly been aiming the Slark. Alacrity now has the full Bloodstone up to make matters worse. Look over to Drew, he's getting closer and closer to that BKB now. At the very least, Natsumi, he does have the Maelstrom up. Just feels like he's never really able to just sit there and right click as he needs. Now an immediate smoke. Alright, where do they go this time? It looks like top lane will be the option as Drew does get the pounce off onto Bok. Bok needs some help ASAP, but it's not coming fast enough. Looks like he is going to be controlled up once again, and Bok tries to run, but it will be to no avail. But KYXY finds Mac in the back as well. Mac TP to the shrine, and it did not pay off for him. KYXY was just waiting, and he does get the dual damage off. So RR more than happy with what they've gotten. They want to go for that mid tier 2 tower now. You'll see Hustler immediately TPing back towards the tier 1 mid, pushing out the creep wave. In fact, Boomy, you are way too close right now, but Natsumi is the target. Drew doesn't get the pounce he wanted, but he will be able to walk out of there surely. AYXY falling quite low, but not anywhere near enough. The Aghanim Scepter coming out on Hustler now. It's going to make matters a hell of a lot worse for Adroit. Much more burst potential from him. Adroit just trying to hold that mid tier 2. Really not wanting to give up any more map control this game. The EKB is now up though on the Slark. Drew, he's just bringing it out on the Courier. Can always get called in by the Chen. Looks like they may not even need him though. The tier 2 is just gone. So they'll make their way down to the bot tier 2 where Drew is already pushing out the creep waves. And this is just surgical coming out from RR. Adroit just don't have an answer for this. It'll be the final tier 2 tower going down. Alacrity just finds this mind breaker, so now he's got a silence. He's going to give it away to the Slark, it looks like. On a 20-second cooldown, but a 4-second silence is nothing to scoff at. And with the Undying as well, this time going out on Natsumi. He does opt to use it though. Like RR. Roshan will be the play now. Adroit in absolutely no position to try and defend this Roshan. So Reality Rift easily claim it for themselves. It does get scanned out, but that means absolutely nothing if you're not going to rotate. So Alacrity now has an Aegis to boot, and they smoke up immediately. He's popped as well. Alacrity, who are you going for? They seem to know where they are. In fact, Bok may be the first target of Alacrity. He does get the Vortex off. Get rid of this tanky Bristleback, and there's the duel into the Laguna, and he just melts. Alacrity, where are you off to now? Straight after Natsumi. In fact, make that Boomy on the Veno he wants. They're trying to control Alacrity the best they can, but he has the Aegis anyway. He is dropping low, but Boomy's dropping lower, and he does go down. The CM ultimate was being channeled, but it doesn't matter. It just does no damage to the side of the Radiant. At the very least, they got the Aegis off Alacrity. It looks like they may lose this tier 3 tower. Alacrity does force out the Rage. Boomy, again going to be the target. He just bought back, and it looks like he may be dying back immediately, and does. Now they found Mac on the left track. He uses up, but does he have a way out of this? He definitely does not. He's gone as well. At least he has the Helm of the Undead, so he can sustain for another 5, but it's not really that long. Now the duel coming up from KYX, where they completely team wipe him, and it's going to be GG well played. RR managing to pull off a 2-0 victory in this best of 2 series. And I've got to say, they look quite dominant in this series, to say the least. Adroit putting up a pretty damn good fight in game number 1. Though unfortunately for them in game number 2, they just got controlled way too early on, and RR just ran over them with this draft. Nevertheless, that is the second series over for today, but there's plenty more to go. In fact, our next series is either going to be GeekFam versus Neon Esports or Signal versus Alpha X hashtag. We'll see which one we are casting for the next game. I believe it will be GeekFam versus Neon, but I will double check and you'll see it on the screen very, very soon. Nevertheless, for now, it is MLP Dota. I'll see you all again very, very soon for that next series.